Welcome back to another video. My name is Leighton Penrose. I run an e-commerce agency based in Dublin, Ireland, and we run over 9 figures a year in revenue for e-commerce stores. Today I want to talk about why creative is now the most important part of meta ads. Now, totally understand this is a very common conversation that you're probably all having, and everybody knows creative, blah blah blah. I'm trying to make this video a little bit more on the advanced side, so I don't want to just talk about hooks. I don't want to just talk about volume or Andromeda. I want to just kind of get into the thought process of the actual tech platforms themselves, what that phrase actually means to say why creative is so important, and just having that bit more of an open and deep conversation rather than those kind of horizontal conversations where you're talking about a load of higher level stuff, I suppose. So the way Meta's ad system works has changed massively over the last few years. If you're still thinking about meta ads like it's, I know none of you are, but if you think about it like it's 2018, where the game was audiences and interest, lookalikes, manual testing and campaigns, you're going to struggle because Meta is not really a targeting platform anymore. Meta is becoming an artificial intelligence recommendation engine. So what does that mean? Before we get into it, I've created the e-commerce reality check downloadable, which is linked in the description below. This is going to help anybody who's unclear about what the next phase of growth for their e-commerce store looks like, unlocking everything from creative, new customer acquisition, retention, and also lifetime value. Download it, let me know what you think. This should give you really good clarity on what the next phase of your business looks like, that also help you identify what the bottleneck is. The big thing e-commerce founders need to understand is this: Meta is no longer just looking at the audiences that you select. It's looking at the relationship between the person, the ad, the creative, the product, the placement, the historical behavior of the person, and the predicted action that they're likely to take next. Meta has publicly spoken about Andromeda, which is the ad new retrieval system. If you didn't know that, the new algorithm. Its job is to take tens of millions of possible ads and narrow them down to a few thousand relevant candidates before the deeper ranking systems decide what actually gets shown to these users. So that alone should completely change how you're thinking about your ads. Your ads don't automatically get a fair shot anymore just because you launched it. It first needs to be retrieved. It needs to be considered relevant enough to even enter the next stage of the system. Andromeda was built because Meta now has far more eligible ads, more creative variations, more advanced plus automation, more dynamic placement, and more AI generated creative entering the system. Now, I don't think the AI generated creative is by any means trustworthy, and I would never recommend people to use it right now, but I give it a year probably, and it'll probably be there. Meta said that this growth is eligible ads and creatives made retrieval more complex, and Andromeda was designed to handle that scale. So when I say creatives matter, what I really mean is your creatives affect whether Meta can understand your ad properly. It understands who Meta thinks that the ad is relevant for, and your creative affects whether the system has enough signal off the back of what's in that creative to match your ad to the right people. So that's why broad targeting works better than it used to. Not because the targeting doesn't exist, but because the system that Meta is now using is effectively using what's in the creative to identify who's going to get shown the ad. Meta has also said its newer ad recommendation systems are built around sequence learning. In plain English, that just means Meta is looking at people's behavior over time, not just static traits. It looks at sequences of events such as where somebody clicked, what they watched, what they've engaged with, what they've purchased, and what they've converted from, and uses that to predict what they're likely to respond to. So you can imagine like how impactful that's going to be from an advertising perspective compared to when we used to just pick an interest and then see if that aligned with what the person wanted to purchase. It's completely different to that world where men aged 25 to 45 interested in fitness. Now the system is going to be asking, okay, what has this person seen recently? What content are they engaging with? What ads have they clicked? What products have they shown intent around? What creative formats do they respond to? What type of message intends to move them? What is the probability that they take the action from the next advertiser that they see? Like, it's calculating all of this. It's incredible, really, if you think about it. And the creative is not just the video or the image. It's a bundle of all of these mini signals within the image of the video itself. It's the language you're using, it's the hook, it's the format, it's the product, it's the pain point, the language in the testimonial, the visual style, the offer, and the landing page that's even connected to the ad. So it's all connected, and if you run specific creatives, Meta gets all of these specific signals. So for an example that I have down here, an ad that says new skincare bundle now available. It's pretty weak from a machine learning perspective, but an ad that says still dealing with hormonal breakouts in your late 20s, that's going to have a much more stronger impact because it gives the system a clearer signal around the person, problem, the age bracket, the category, the intent, and the emotional trigger. That ad is not just speaking to a customer, it is teaching the algorithm who the customer is, and that's why creative diversity is so important now. Meta's system is not just trying to find one winning ad, it's trying to match the right ad to the right person in the right context at the right moment. And different people obviously buy for different reasons. Some people buy for social proof, some people buy for education, they like a founder story, they like product demonstrations, they particularly react to like offers, they might need a comparison, or they might need to see the product in use. Like, people purchase things for different reasons, and it's really important that we're acknowledging that and we're tapping into that to make sure that we're utilizing the Andromeda system as best to our ability. So you're basically saying here are 3 different ways to understand your customer. So when you only give Meta 3 or 5 creatives, you're basically just saying that this is all that I have to show you how you're going to understand my customer. But if you give it 20 creatives and all of these different unique scenarios, you're giving Meta so much more opportunity to understand what your customer reacts to. And I think that's really powerful. Meta itself recommends continuously testing different images and videos using multiple creatives, analyzing the creative performance, and watching for creative fatigue, because overexposure can increase costs. But the mistakes that brands make is they think creative testing means small variations, changing the first line of the copy, changing the thumbnail, changing the background color. That's not real creative diversity. Real creative diversity is testing completely different reasons why someone should care. You need problem-led, product-led, founder-led, UGC, comparison ads, before and after ads, testimonial ads, offer-led ads, educational-led ads, lifestyle ads, and objection handling ads. Because Meta is not just measuring whether one ad is better than another, it's learning which type of person responds to which type of message. And this is where Andromeda becomes really, really important. Meta says Andromeda uses deep neural networks to learn higher order interactions from people and adds data. It also said the system captures complex Latin relationships between people's interest, products, and services offered through their ads. That phrase matters. Latent relationships. It means Meta is not just looking at obvious things. It is trying to understand hidden patterns between users, ads, product, creative formats, and actions. So a founder might look at an ad and say, okay, this is just a UGC video, but Meta might be reading, this format works better for this type of buyer, this hook works for this intent group, this product angle works better in Reels than feed, this type of person watches 80% of the video but doesn't click, this type of person reacts after seeing social proof, this audience converts only after seeing 3 different types of content. Not decorating the creative, not branding the creative, not just content, but creative is the input layer of the entire system. So you can have the cleanest account structure in the world, but if the creative does not create signal, attention, intent, and conversion, the system has nothing valuable to optimize around. Meta says learning happens at an ad set level, and the ad set generally needs around 50 optimizations events over the 7 days to stabilize. So it also warns you that too many overlapping ad sets can split data collection, and that can hurt the learning. So let's try to keep them as condensed as possible so the learnings all stay on top of each other. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much most of the stuff that I wanted to cover. Again, if you want to understand what your e-commerce business actually is stuck on or what your main bottleneck is, download the e-commerce reality check. It's in the YouTube description below, and I would really appreciate a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.